On this episode of the Bozo podcast, the boys are late to show up. Dan is a champion, and Nathan goes Super Saiyan. Welcome to the Bozo Show.
Hey
guys, welcome to the Bozo Show podcast.
Oh my god, I hate it so much when Dan cold opens like this. It's so annoying. Can't we intro it properly?
My name's Dan Corona.
My name's Nate.
I sound like I just woke up.
I'm very energetic, and I hate Dan Corona so much.
I worked a lot today, and I just got home, and I set up the podcast set. Dathan didn't help. Never helps.
I'm Nate, and if I don't supervise Dan, he doesn't set up the podcast. He's so stupid.
And it's just like I work so hard for this family.
Dan's lying. He's lazy. He's lying. I do all the editing and thumbnails. Dan is a bitch. My name's Nate. Thanks for tuning into the Bozo Show pod. Is that good? Did you get everything you needed?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow, Seth, we're great at improv.
Yeah.
Keep rolling.
I'm gonna keep rolling and go by myself.
Roll? This is the podcast now?
Hey guys, welcome to the Bozo Show podcast. Sorry about those guys.
Nate, we got it started for you.
Yeah, Nathan's playing Melee, and I set up the podcast, and he's not here. I'm gonna move this back a little bit because my head's a little cut off. So yeah, Nathan's playing Melee. Sick played the first game. He lost his DK, and now Nathan's yelling from the other room because he's in a Melee set right now. He decided to queue up a ranked Melee set. And the other boys were like, let me do a cold open. Because they're here for a little bit. Still, even after 2 weeks ago's podcast, they haven't left, actually. They've been here the whole time. So now I'm just going solo dolo because Nathan's too busy. And now he's yelling at me. I don't really agree with their impressions of us, to be honest. I feel like Sick was very much aggressive on Nathan's persona. And Seb was a little bit too lethargic. I think I have a little bit more to offer than just saying I'm tired all the time, which I am tired all the time because I play sports and go to the gym and work a full-time job and also then come home and do stuff like this. So it's a lot of work. But you got to get active. You got to do stuff in the life that we live, you know what I'm saying? So, if you're not tired, then what are you doing? What are you even living for? You know what I'm saying? Being tired means you woke up and you did something that day. So, I think it's good to be tired. But yeah, Nathan is probably losing as Dr. Mario. Who knows? I heard he tried to ban Dreamland, failed. Speaking of Melee, I was gone the whole weekend. I just found out that HBox won Genesis. What? HBox won Genesis? What year are we in? Apparently he was playing Triff, who's a Peach player, which crazy that Triff made it to the finals. Congrats, Triff. That's awesome. I don't know much about Triff. I've seen him, I think, in some invitationals or something, like some old summits or something. Good Peach player. Did not expect him to be in the finals, but congrats. It's awesome. And HBox was apparently crying his eyes out while he was fighting him in the finals because I guess he realized he was going to be winning his first major in like 3 years. I guess like before the online era.
Dude!
Nathan, get the fuck in here. Get your chair. You don't have a chair.
Ah!
Yeah, I guess he realized that like he was going to win his first major in like 3 years. And then started crying mid-set, which is kind of badass.
You can't start a podcast like this!
Why not? We already...
I cold open it!
I can and I did.
You fucking asshole!
You're on borrowed time. Welcome, Nathan, to the podcast. How are you?
Dude, I was in the middle of a game. Also, this is... Oh, it just doesn't tell the battery. I was in the middle of a game.
Well, I was talking about how HBox won Genesis and he was crying in his set.
Well, I just beat a Luigi right now.
Oh, you beat him?
Yeah.
Then you got to play 2 games?
Yes, because I had to beat 2 games.
Oh, my fucking God.
Because Sick lost the first one.
Yeah, he did. His DK sucks, low-key. That guy's ass.
Well, I mean, for DK, it's fine.
Yeah. I will say they did impressions of us as to, like, open the podcast, and they were very... They made you way too mean, and they made me way too, like, lethargic. Like, I was, like...
What do you mean?
Like, they were like, Nathan's like... Or Sick was like, I'm Nathan, and I hate Dan, and like, like how we argue a little bit before when setting. It's just like playful stuff.
I hate this guy.
Yeah, and Seb was like, I'm Dan. I'm tired. I set up the podcast and now I'm tired. So I didn't agree with their impressions. But that was how we opened the podcast. And then I sat down here and said, you know what? It's good to be tired because being tired means that you did something that day, you know?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
I'm very active, Nathan.
It just means that you had sunlight. In fact, you should just get out in the sun more often. The chemical that produces like the sleepiness in your brain is directly related to how much sun like you get absorbed through the skin.
Do screens count? I mean, it's blue light.
Not really. It's through the skin.
I mean,
It's vitamin D absorbed through the skin.
Like this could probably give us.
I don't think this is getting us anywhere near as. I think they actually did shit where it's like if we had like 100 of these, that might equivalent to like being in the sun for the same amount of time.
Well, let's just buy 98 more, and then we'll get enough sun for the day. Huh?
Tanning. We're tanning while
if we ever have an underground bunker that's hiding from the nukes and we need vitamin D and we can't go off the top because then we'll die from radiation, we're going to need 98 more of these to get our proper vitamin D intake for the day.
I need to shorten my chair. I don't think I normally shorten my chair, but I think I needed to shorten it because it felt weird. I felt like I needed to lean down to talk into the microphone.
Did you notice the theme for the day?
I
I don't know why. I was trying to look up hockey like 10 hours.
And you got to fucking Cowboy Bebop?
Couldn't find anything. But then there was like a recommended like jazz playlist for Cowboy Bebop, which was this one. And I was like,
put the Blob on
Cowboy
the fucking...
Yeah, close enough. Because it has similar jazzy songs.
It does.
In the game
The
of
Blob, the
which
Blob's got some great shit.
The controller dies and then the screen goes dark, but whatever. But speaking of being a space cowboy, I went and took the bunch of cowboys up to Colorado.
Wow, what a stretch. What a stretch.
So when you think of when you think of Texas, right?
Yep.
You think of hockey, of course. So
yes, of course.
Me and a bunch of Texans went to Colorado to play in a pond hockey tournament in a place called Georgetown, Colorado.
Funny
Texas. How many Georgetowns there are in the country of America, but
yeah.
Basically, it's like a 3v3 pond hockey tournament, right? This is a big lake, and they had like 23 rinks that go like all the way down and back on the lake, and a bunch of people from all over the country or even like Canada and stuff come and sign up for a division and then play with hopefully decently matched skill-based like players.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's like a top division where it has like really good people who are like, which by the way, they were crazy. They were like throwing hits.
They're cracked.
Like you're basically just only wearing lowers and like elbow pads. You don't break an arm. And people are just like throwing hits like, in the top division and like firing the like basically it's a rink that has like 2x4s as boards, so the puck can easily bounce out, right? Like you're supposed to keep everything on the ice when you're trying to score.
Yeah.
I mean, we were still like passing it through the air and stuff, but and then there's a net that's basically just like think of like a crate, like a milk crate.
Yep.
But it's like only as high as like a 2x4, and then there's a board in the middle and 2 slots on the left and the right posts. Yeah. And you have to get it in those slots to score.
Interesting.
So there's no goalies, just 3-on-3, like passing, movement, and like if you can hit your long shots, hit your long shots. So we fly in on Thursday. I had like a 7 a.m. flight. I was like so early, and I got into the airport, and I had to pay extra money to check my hockey bag because it's like a huge hockey bag over your shoulder, and then the sticks go in a stick bag, which is like a separate checked bag, and they both went to the oversized, so it's like a whole pain in the ass.
Double checked.
We get there, and I have to wait because the other boys are coming in at like 9 and 10 o'clock. So I'm just like sitting in a corner of the airport with like my hockey bag and my hockey stick to my left. I'm sitting on my suitcase, and then I have my backpack at my feet, and I have like 4 basically things to take through the airport with me. It's miserable. Plus, like Denver airport's weird where you have like I'm in the C terminal, and then you have to go onto like a train that takes you back towards the road.
The underground one, or what? Yeah. Airports do that.
It's kind of cool, but like
this is just how they get more terminals because they're like, we have this huge area for the runway, but only like one access point, so they just we're just gonna shuttle you underneath the terminal.
Well, Austin Airport does that, but it's not a train. It's just you just go in like an underground for a second, then come back up to the second terminal. But because that's usually where all the American flights are. But I was flying Southwest, which doesn't have seating apparently. I thought like you have like an assigned seat on a flight.
You just sit
Southwest
wherever.
is just free for all. You just go and you sit wherever. So I'm sitting in the aisle seat and I'm just putting my head down, so no one makes eye contact with me and says, "Hey, can I sit there?" And luckily on the flight there, I got no one in the middle of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in the airport waiting like 2 hours. Finally, one of the other guys shows up, and we head to like just like a bar to like sit down and like maybe get some breakfast or something. Breakfast, the bar food wasn't very good. I just got a fruit cup. Ate some fruit. I don't even know what it was. One was orange.
Bar
one
in
was
the
green.
morning.
Yeah, I got a beer.
Yeah,
we
sounds all right.
both had a Michelob at 9 a.m. in Colorado. And then eventually my buddy Sam showed up, which he's the only one that was originally from Texas on the team.
Oh, I see.
Right?
The only true Texan.
Yeah. So Jeremy, who's the other teammate we had, was from New York originally, and so am I. So we basically had 2 teams, right? We had our team, which was only 3 people, but then there's another team which had like 4, I think. So we were just like, hey, let's just like sub for each other's teams, right?
Yep.
So that we have, guys can get some fresh air, get some lungs when they're playing.
Makes sense.
Those guys were all not originally from Texas, but a lot of them live here. I think only one of them lives in Colorado.
In case you're curious who is Texas born, if that matters to you guys.
Well,
Did
it's
you
just
guys
like-
have like a Texan's name? Or you like the Texan?
No, we actually had a
Road
Russian name
Dog? What?
because our team captain is this old guy who's on our men's league team, and he's Russian. So
Yeah.
the jerseys were all in Russian that he gave us and everything. And he signed us up, but he couldn't go because his kid was in some tournament or something.
Okay,
So
yeah.
He just like was like, here, take it and go. So we were under like a Russian name playing the whole weekend, which was funny. But then like we go and get a rental truck, whatever, and we start driving up the mountain, and I fall asleep. So I don't even see like the scenic view of the mountain stuff. I don't even know. I have no concept of how far we drove or like how deep we drove into the mountains or whatever. I think we stopped at a hockey store. I bought a new stick, which is kind of sick.
New stick, new dick.
And then we got lunch, and then we drive into the mountains, and I fall asleep. I wake up, and we're already at the lake where we're gonna be playing all weekend.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's in a valley, like beautiful scenes, like just like sloped mountains on either side, and then there's like a gap, and there's another mountain behind it, like 3 layers of mountains,
framed nice,
gorgeous. There's like a brewery right next to the lake that like we went in and had drinks and just like checked in for the tournament. Just like absolutely beautiful weather too. Like it was only like 35 or 40 degrees, which is cold, but
yeah,
compared to how cold it could get in the mountains, like it was gorgeous, like sunny day, no wind.
Yeah.
So then we leave the lake and go to check into our Airbnb, which is up this just like single laned road that just like has like multiple cutbacks where it just completely U-turns and goes up and then completely U-turns back and goes up even more.
That shit sucks.
Yeah, well, we were in a truck and we skidded out a couple times.
That's what I'm saying.
But
Like
we didn't crash or anything.
it's icy and you're going up this like a long goddamn single road thing. Was yours like the only house up there, or is it like the fear of I hope
like
no one's
neighborhoods.
fucking coming down?
There's like neighborhoods and stuff. Yeah, there was definitely people going back and forth,
That
flashing.
shit sucked. I
brights
don't
in
know
their
why
eyes.
they fucking do that in the mountains. But they'll build roads and they're just like, well, we don't want to put the money in to put 2 lanes. And so it's like, what the fuck's gonna happen when 2 people are going the opposite way? You have to fucking figure shit out.
Over. I mean, there it starts out as like 2 lanes going either way, and then like towards the neighborhoods up top, like on top of the mountain, it's just like
it's one lane. It's
road,
like you'll figure it out, I guess.
So it was a little sketchy. Plus, like it was not snowing on the lake where our house was. Snowing, like we're just on top of a mountain now.
Yeah.
I did not know this, but apparently Denver is 5,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
I don't feel any like elevation, whatever
Difference
altitude
or-
difference in Denver because I went there this summer, didn't feel a thing.
Yep.
Right? We go to the lake, still don't feel a thing. I drank like 2 beers at the brewery. Felt like I got tipsy pretty fast, which
Yeah.
I was like, okay, altitude, my blood's thinner, or whatever. I'm gonna get drunk fast. We go to the Airbnb. Apparently, well, the lake is 8,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah, it's already going a little
So
bit
that's
higher.
3,000 more than Denver, which I did not know because I fell asleep. I didn't know how far we went up into the
Yeah.
mountains. Our Airbnb was 10,000 feet above sea level, 2,000 feet higher than the lake. which ended up becoming an issue because altitude sickness is a very real thing and a very fucked up thing.
Especially for Dan Corona.
Me, who has never been that high in my life on chronic or on altitude, started to feel it fast, which I didn't know it was altitude sickness. I just thought I had a headache the first night, and I was fine. Like a week, I was a little drunk when we got back.
Yeah.
But I like cooked dinner. I cooked pasta and for the boys, and just like we were just chilling, watching the hockey game or whatever. I think it was like Sweden and Canada were playing or something. Because doing the whole Four Nations thing, which was awesome because everyone was watching that the whole weekend while we were there, which is cool.
Okay.
But I have a massive headache, and I just like we go to sleep, whatever. I wake up, I'm like spinning, like my stomach is like trying to eject itself. Like I can't eat anything because I'm like feel like I'm gonna throw up. I'm doing this thing like all weekend where I would be really nauseous, and I would just like get like a chill or whatever of like throw up or whatever, and I'll just go like this, and I'll just like twitch, and I'll shake it off, you know. But the boys had the other team, not our team, the other guys, which they were friends with the other two. I didn't know these new guys.
Yeah.
But they were super cool. They had a game early, first game like on Friday. Our games were at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., which is in the dark basically, so it's gonna be cold, right?
Yeah, it's like the sun fully down? Like when does the sun go down?
Pretty much like 6. So we're playing at sunset. So
like
5.
with like the lights on essentially.
Yeah,
once
they
you start
they
playing?
have generators with floodlights and stuff all over the lake. But I wake up and they're like getting ready to leave at like 8 a.m. and I'm like, boys, I don't think I can leave right now. Like I feel dizzy. Like I'm gonna throw up. Like this is bad. And they're like, oh shit, it's probably altitude sickness. And I looked it up and it's like, sure enough, headache, nausea. Like diarrhea, like all these things, dizziness, like lightheadedness. I'm like, okay, all 5 of those things I'm feeling. This is terrible.
Textbook.
So they go and play, and I'm like, literally taking short naps, waking up, and when you sleep, like your breath's like shorter, right? Like
yeah, like your breath slows down. Yeah, your heart rate.
So
and
your
all
heart rate
that.
slows down. So then that just makes me more woozy because like I'm not
You're getting less stuff
intaking
in
enough
there,
oxygen, right? So I'm just like trying to eat stuff, shitting my brains out, just like really dizzy, wanting to throw up, and then going and laying down to like stop being nauseous, and then falling asleep again, and then waking up and doing it all over again for like pretty much 3 hours. And then the guys get back at like noon with ibuprofen for my headache.
Yep.
Because I didn't have any, and canned air, which
what the
low
fuck?
key is kind of sick. So basically, it's just like a little cup, and you put your mouth in the cup, and then pull the trigger.
I've seen that. No, I've seen that.
Take a deep breath, and like, I didn't realize that I could not fully get my lungs.
It's essentially like an inhaler,
expanded.
dude.
Yeah, but with the canned air, it's like my chest like gets so big, you know, because you get just pure oxygen. So that sort of helped. It didn't really help with the nausea, but it helped me like, you know, get my breath back a little bit and make me not less woozy and dizzy.
Yep.
And then the ibuprofen got rid of the headache, but I was still very nauseous. Also couldn't eat much because I was nauseous, so I was just like lightheaded and felt weak. But I ended up force feeding myself without throwing up. We got in there's a hot tub in our Airbnb. We got in the hot tub, and I just like the cold air in my lungs and the hot stuff on my muscles and stuff kind of like negated the nausea. Plus I was taking Pepto, which apparently the Pepto only lasts like 30 minutes. But I had like these Pepto chewable tablets.
Sure.
And I just kept popping them for like the whole afternoon.
What the fuck's in them? They only last 30. Like, how does it even work?
It's Pepto's supposed to like just like re-solid your stomach. It's not meant for nausea.
Oh, it's just
meant
lining.
to stop diarrhea, basically.
Yeah.
So just popping those chewables, I don't know if that's good for you or not, but it helped with the nausea a little bit, at least in the short term. So I was able to, you know, get situated and get down the mountain, because at 8,000 elevation at the hockey rink or the lake, I'm fine. I played both games that night, felt perfect. Like not like I was able to play. I wasn't even like lightheaded or anything from like lack of energy from eating. I was just
biggest contributing factor to your revival.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much just going down. I mean, that's like what they say to do is just go down in elevation and it'll fix itself. But the problem is like our home base where we're staying is like the highest point that we're going to be at, which is where I'm going to spend the most time, and I'm going to sleep.
You're training. Every
Honestly,
time you come down in the rink, it's like you feel like God. You're like, you know what?
Yeah,
all the weights are
definitely
coming
feel way
off,
better.
dude. It hypes you for the game.
So Saturday comes around. We won both our games, by the way.
W.
And the other team, which I only played like one game as a sub for them because they had another buddy who was like one of the guy's brothers or college friends or something.
Sure.
He came down and was a fifth sub, so only one of me and the two guys I was staying with in the Airbnb needed to sub every game. So we're 2-0. We go into Saturday. I wake up. I'm still extremely nauseous, but I think I think my body was slowly adjusting. It's supposed to take like 1 to 2 weeks for your body to fully adjust.
That
to, like,
makes sense.
That sort of elevation. But like, I woke up the second day. This time I immediately hopped in the shower and then immediately popped all the drugs, like the Pepto and the ibuprofen. And I still felt terrible and couldn't eat much, but I was able to get to the rink because we had an earlier game at like 10:15 or something. And once I was at the rink, I could like eat a little bit more and lock in and play the games.
How long are like the games lasting? Like, is it like a...
So it's 2 15-minute halves, basically. And the division we're in, we've basically signed up for the one, like basically the middle division, but there's 2 tiers. So we signed up for tier 1, but because this team I was playing for had like history in the registration, they didn't make playoffs the last 2 years they went. So they automatically bumped us down to tier 2. And the team that played the last 2 years had the Russian guy and a couple more older guys who are probably would fit well in the tier 1. They're probably where they were at, like tier 1, but not in the playoffs. Like that's probably like their skill level, I would say. But our team was me and the 2 other young guys, and then our subs who were playing in like the higher division, right? Like 2 divisions above the tier 2. Like we would have been 1 division below them if they put us in what we signed up for. But they were like they were pretty competitive.
So they want to play hard games.
Yeah, which we wanted to too, but the tournament themselves bumped us down.
Yeah.
So in the group stage, you basically are guaranteed 4 games, and if you go 4-0 or if you go like 3-1, you 4-0 pretty much is auto qualify. And then 3-1, it's like there's like tiebreaker, which is like goals against, I think it was. But we ended up going 4-0 because we basically we were way too good for this division, essentially. So in the group stage, we just walked like all the teams we played. Like we weren't dicks though. We saw on the scoreboard that like some teams were just like beating teams like 37-4 or something, you know, like stupid. Like we would score really quickly and it would be like, I don't know, like 10-1, and then we would like second half we would like take it easy, and you know, we were just play the game, being nice, being cordial. Like everyone there was super nice, super friendly, and we were just like joking around.
People are just there to fucking drink beer, and play hockey,
drink beer, watch hockey, play hockey. And you know, it's not fun for them if we're beating them like 40-0. So most games ended up being like 13-9 or like 15-6 or something like that. Like we just like let up after a while. Once we knew like we had the win. And then the last team, because we had those morning games like 10, 15, and 11, the last team had car trouble. So they forfeited. So then we had just like an easy 4-0.
Oh, that fucking sucks.
Dude, also like the roads there, not the greatest. And people have like chains on their tires and stuff. And it was like snowing on and off like the whole time. At one point for our first game, it was at 5 o'clock and we left the house at 4:15, right? Like it takes like 30 minutes to get from our Airbnb to the rink. So we would have had like 15 minutes to get dressed and then play. Either I heard we heard 2 stories. We don't actually know what happened. There was either an avalanche or an 18-wheeler flipped on its side somewhere up the highway. Or both. An avalanche could have spun the 18, caused the 18-wheeler to flip over.
Interesting.
I don't know.
All right.
But it was like maybe 6 to 10 miles or exits up the road, like from the lake, but the traffic was backed up like 4 exits back.
So you couldn't get in there, yeah.
Our GPS said like 10 minutes from when we got down the mountain and started to get on the highway. By the time we got onto the highway and got into the traffic, it jumped to 30 to 45, and then we were stuck.
It was just like you're at a
So,
standstill. You're fucked.
The first game we played, we only got there with like 5 minutes left in the game, and the subs were like basically Iron Manning it, playing it like with only 3 guys.
Yeah.
But because our division was so poor, they won 13-9 basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, road's definitely not ideal. But then
That's crazy.
that brings us to Sunday, and by this point, I had
Super Bowl
figured out how to
Sunday.
deal with the altitude sickness, and that would be
What was figuring it out? Yeah.
Dramamine,
Dramamine.
which is a drug that is anti-nausea. And the reason I couldn't get it earlier is because we had to drive to a grocery store, and the nearest grocery store was like 15 exits towards Denver.
Yeah.
Because it's just like little.
You got to go like crazy out of your way.
Meth towns that like the people there clearly are doing some sort of drugs, or it's like cute little touristy mountain towns, you know. And we had to go to one of those cute little touristy mountain towns to get to a grocery store and find like an actual pharmacy which had like a lot of drugs, and then I was able to get the Dramamine, which that instead of lasting 30 minutes like the
Pepto-Bismol
did, lasted 6 hours, and it was way stronger.
Ooh,
so
that makes sense.
First things first, in the morning on Sunday, I woke up. First thing I did was pick the drugs off the coffee table and pop 2 tablets.
Yeah.
I was fine. Like no more nausea, no more sickness, like perfect. And it was like perfect because we had to be at the rink at 8 o'clock or at the pond or the lake. So that there was like no chance I could like have any time to fucking shit my brains out or like, you know, eat something and recover.
Yeah.
So we just had like, I had like a Cliff Bar, and then we went, and the way the tournament's like structured, it was like, it's just like thousands of people, and you get put in like in your division, you get put into like a round robin group. So with like 6 teams or something.
Yeah.
We went 4-0, so we progressed past that. And then it's 32 teams from your division that all compete in like a bracket. So that's a max of 5 games on Sunday, which is a fucking,
that's a shit ton, yeah.
So
at the very end, the last day is when each section has 32 teams.
Yes.
Being played. How many? Is it just one? How many fields are there? Like,
so there's,
I don't know if field's the right term.
There was
Rinks.
Broken Bottle, which is the lowest. Then there was Brown Bottle, which had the 2 tiers, which that's what we were in. We were in Brown Bottle tier 2, which is, again, we should not have been there. Then there's Mountain Time, I think was one, which is what our buddies were in, which is like pretty much these, like the people in that division can play hockey. Like they clearly are good at hockey.
These are separate rinks that they're playing in too?
There's 23 rinks on the whole
I
lake,
see.
and you just get assigned on the app. There's like an app with like a bracket, and you get assigned to a rink, and then you have to go meet up with the other team you're playing. Then I think there's one above that, and then there's like the top division, which is like the guys that are throwing hits and like firing the puck at as fast as possible.
How big is this goddamn link? 20 rinks?
Yeah, 23 full size rinks, all going all the way back
Sheesh.
around. Pretty big lake. And then there's also like an over 35 league, an over 50 league, and then a women's league, I think.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of people at this lake.
Yeah,
and
I didn't
there's
realize.
like tents with like food trucks and food
I was
stands
thinking like
and
150, like 200
No,
people.
it's thousands.
It's a big, like it's a full convention
ton of
essentially
people.
for hockey.
Yeah. They have like Zambonis that'll do dry cuts of the ice too. So
Jeez.
so it's just like a super official thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we get into playoffs. We show up at 8 a.m. Luckily, or like not luckily, but like unfortunately, the other team we were playing did not show up. So we got a free first round,
Free win.
which is good because then we
You can
save
save
our legs.
energy, yeah.
Yeah. And then our buddies who had a game at 8:45, they lost first round. They played a team that I think went to the semifinals, so they just got like a bad, like unlucky seeding.
Is it just elimination? Like once you lose on that
you
day?
lose one, you're out. Single elimination bracket. But like they were like our buddies were good. Like their team was good.
Yeah,
but
they just played against
one of the
a
best.
really good team. Yeah,
pretty much. So they got knocked out first round. But that was good for us because after the first 2 rounds, it's just every division plays back to back to back to back to back because there's enough rinks to handle like the final like 8
and
or
it's
whatever.
one
each.
day to get all these fucking games out of the way.
And they have to be done. They want to be done by like 2 o'clock basically because people have to fly out that night, right?
Yep.
So they can't go to like 8 p.m. like the last couple days.
Mm-hmm.
But because they got eliminated, then we didn't have to Iron Man basically just play with the 3 of us for like the later rounds, and they could come be subs
You guys
with us.
still have fresh legs, and you have backups too, who are just like dedicated to your team, not
Yeah,
playing multiple
well,
stuff.
now that their team was out, they were like super like, come on, boys, we fucking got this. We're gonna win this one. We have to win this one.
Mhm.
Like, so I feel like I didn't know these guys, right? They play on like some A-League team, which is like competitive hockey here in Austin with my buddy Sam and Jeremy, who I was staying with. And they're all like 30-year-old, like 6 foot whatever the fuck, like big bearded, muscly hockey players, right? And they're not like crazy good, like dominant, but like they're competent hockey players, and they're just intimidating guys.
They're
For
built.
me, who's like not on their team and doesn't know who these people are, I'm like, these people are, they're fully like hockey bros, like they all don't know each other, and I'm the odd one out. But like going into the finals, everyone just kind of like camaraderie up, like, you know, we're a team now, like this is our run, we're going. And just like I feel like I earned their respect through playing hockey. Sorry, my nose is itchy.
He's tearing up
Stall
at
for
this.
a
It's
sec.
such a heartwarming story that Dan has to. He's oh my god, he's crying right now. Oh, the tears are flowing. Yeah, Dan really likes his hockey. I'll be honest. I'm picturing in my head that these are some burly lumberjack fellows.
Dude, literally, like big bearded, burly lumberjack type looking guys. So first game we get the bye, or they forfeited, right?
Yeah.
They didn't show up. They actually got our name wrong. They put that team that didn't show up through.
Oh,
So
and you're like, wait.
Instead of our Russian name, we're going as a team called Pawn Scum.
Oh, you just fucking adopted? You're like, fuck it, guess we're Pawn
we told
Scum.
the guy, and he's like, oh, I'll let the organizers know. But on the app, it was still saying Pawn Scum's winning and going forward. The first game we played, team wasn't very good. You know, they were better than the teams we played in the group stage. Like, they actually scored a bunch of goals, and like I think we won maybe like 15-9 or something like that. Like, it was a closer game, but like there really wasn't any chance we were gonna lose. We go on to the next game, and by the way, this day is freezing cold. Winds are like 15 miles per hour. There's really a serious advantage going one way or the other, because the wind is
wherever
just
the
coming
wind's
through
in
the
your
valley.
face or not.
It's so hard to skate into the wind. Second team we placed, apparently they were like the 32nd seed and got like super drunk the night before and had no idea they made it, because they were super late to put out the schedules. It went out at like 3 a.m. So they were just like, fuck it, we'll show up, and they had like no sleep. But they were really good. I don't even know how they were like the 32nd seed, because these guys were like from Canada, and they had this like one Russian guy who was kind of just like he's being
Maybe
a little
they're
bit
just
of a puck
fucking
hog.
around. I don't know.
I guess, but it was a little. It has a little controversial moment in the game. We were up 6-5 or something. Like, we were up by 1 goal. And the Russian guy kind of like dances around one and then cuts across and then like gets position on my buddy Jeremy.
Yeah.
And my buddy Jeremy like tries to get in on here and then ends up having to go around him. And what he ends up doing is getting his stick across his body and like trying to like leverage his, like to hit him or like to, you know, push him off the puck.
Yeah.
But instead he just ended up hooking him. But the guy, like after sensing like the guy's stick here, put his arm down and closed and clamped his stick.
Oh.
And then he basically saved a goal, and their whole bench is like, what the hell? It's a hook. Like, that's a goal. It should be a goal. And there's no refs. It's just like itself, like, refed, basically. So we're all like, we agree with you as a hook, but that's not a goal, which I think it technically should have been a goal. So then on the bench, we were like, fuck, we have to win by 2. Otherwise, like, they're gonna be so
pissed at you,
pissed.
dude.
And this guy, like, I don't think he's wearing elbow pads, and he fell like twice off, like, just being tripped. The first one on accident, like, he's just an idiot for not wearing elbow pads. The second one, he like got up and like he threw his stick off the ice, like he's being a little bitch. But then like luckily we scored a 7th and ended up winning 7-5. So they couldn't really like bitch and moan about the penalty.
There better not be some fucking like Russian mobsters coming up at our door like, I
they wouldn't come after me. They'd go after Jeremy, who fucking took him down. But that was probably the hardest team we faced in terms of like opponents. The next 2 games were just, we were getting so tired, and like I'm like freezing. The winds a lot. Like I break out a new thing of canned air for the boys. So like, you know, if you're on the bench, you get a little regen. The only thing I'm running on,
dude,
is a
you're
Cliff Bar.
huffing drugs before the game.
It's just oxygen. It's not even drugs.
It's straight oxygen. What do you mean? I'm fine.
I think I had like a protein bar or something in between this and the next game, and like the boys are like chirping me, like the older guys, because they're like, "Come on, man, you're young, you got this."
Yeah.
Because I'm like huffing and puffing. The altitude's like really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, like, dude, getting dressed in the freezing cold because there's no locker room or anything, right?
Oh,
Usually
yeah.
You just plop your bag down in the snow, like on the ice, and then just like I would stand in my bag and like strip down to like my long johns to put on all my blowers and stuff, and like you're just freezing. My hands actually got all cut up because they would get cold.
I don't want to look at
And
those.
they're not even bad.
I'm not
They're
looking at
fine.
them.
But they were bleeding all weekend because they would just get really cold, and I would have to like put on my gear and stuff, and like it would just like rip my dry skin.
That sounds awful. I don't like these
It's
things.
fine. It's battle scars.
Ah.
So we go into the semifinals, and we're playing a team. They put up a really good fight in the first half, but then they were just older guys. You could
They
tell.
ran out of steam.
They got so tired, and then I think we ended up winning like 13-7 or something like that.
Sheesh.
Which, by the way, this whole time I'm like usually I play offense in a normal league, but I'm getting tired, so I'm playing like defense. We're playing like 2 back and 1 high, and the 1 high guy's just like forcing turnovers, and then if he gets the puck, like someone slides up and plays like a 2-on-1 and then drops back if we lose the puck.
Mm-hmm.
The night before when the team forfeited because they had car trouble.
Yeah.
What we did instead, because we were there at the rink, we just like went to an empty rink and started just shooting at full ice. Like one person would stand by one net, the other 2 would stand by the other net, and we were just trying to like sauce pass it, which basically just means pass it in the air into the slots, like full range of the ice.
Okay.
So I had a lot of practice at like trying to aim from long range.
Yeah.
And I honestly think that helped so much because every time I would get the puck, it'd be like a defenseman would have it, and I would like start curling backwards up the ice, and he would pass it to me, and then I'd either have the pass across because one guy would bite and the other guy would try to chase me, but I'd like curl past him.
Yep.
And it would be like a 2-on-1, and I either could give the pass, or if that guy was reading the pass, then I could shoot at the net, and I would basically get to like the halfway point and then shoot most times because they would give the lane. And because I think because of that aim training like the night before, I scored.
You got unlocked.
I probably scored at least 2 goals a game, just long shots, and then like had a lot of 2-on-1s where I would like tap it in or get like a breakaway or something and score.
Yeah.
So I scored a lot of goals going into these like semifinals.
W Dan.
But getting really tired, we beat that team and then ended up in the finals against an infamous team to the boys. There's this team of apparently the year before they had a bunch of like really big fat guys who would just
body.
You wouldn't think they're good at hockey. Apparently they're just fucking nasty.
Yeah.
And they use their body well because they're big. They had like I think 2 of those guys, but they were not the biggest guys. They were smaller, and then they had a bunch of like normal looking guys.
Yep.
And they loved to fucking complain. Like they were they complained about us goaltending, which apparently
you're not supposed to have goalies. So
you're not supposed to stand like a foot or 2 in front of the box, right? The net. We were not doing that. We were like 5 feet off the net, but just like they would try to shoot from their own half. And we'd have a guy in the middle at all times blocking it. But it's not like he was like standing in the slot with his skate there stopping him from scoring.
Yeah.
Like he was just like we always just had a guy stopping the long range effort. And they were complaining about that. Meanwhile, they were doing the same shit. Like they had a guy there the whole time. Like I only scored like 1 or 2 long shots that game because they had just a guy parked in front of the net the whole time. So I don't know what they're complaining about that for. This game was a lot closer. I think we went up early with like 2 quick ones, and then it was like 2-2, and then we went up like 5-3 or something.
Yep.
And then another controversial moment. This time it was us.
Controversy number 2.
So I am playing like on the right side, and my teammate or something or the other guy tries to play it back to the defense and off the boards, and the guy bites, and I chip it over his stick and then get around him, and I'm faster, right?
Yep.
So I get like 3 steps ahead of him, and then I pull the puck to my backhand, and I can feel him on my back shoulder. I'm like leaning into him to box him out so that I can get the puck and score. And I basically have it in the bag. All I have to do is like re-grab my stick with my right hand and toss it in. I'm like right in front of the net.
Yeah.
But he like falls on my back leg and takes me out, and I go sliding.
Oh, he dives like he does like a onto the ice.
It wasn't purposeful. I think he must like one of us must have caught a crack because there was a lot of cracks in the ice at this point after like day 3. It definitely wasn't intentional. We were just fighting for the puck, and I was like leaning into him. He was leaning into me, and we took we went down together.
Yeah.
I slid through the net,
Oh.
like the box net, which
Yeah.
isn't like secured. It like can slide around.
Yeah.
But I go shoulder into wood, and then I go straight into the 2x4 that's the boards, which has like metal bearings, which has a little bit more resistance.
Ooh.
And I crashed through it. Luckily, it like popped out and it bounced off it. And we slide into the next rink over.
Yeah.
And I'm on my back like this. And I just like roll over and I look at the guy. I'm like, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. You good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And we just get up and go back like nothing happened. But apparently, like, I didn't even fucking clock it. I was too locked into the game. I don't usually like bitch and moan, like, you know, to the ref or like
Yeah.
even have that much investment in a game. I just play hockey. But the benches were arguing because they were like, that should be a goal. It was a breakaway. That's a penalty. Like, just like the other team did.
Oh,
in our
yeah,
game. And they were all like, no, it's not a goal. It's not a goal. What do you mean? But then the guy who took me out like went over and was like, no, that's a goal. Like I totally like tripped him, took him out. Which didn't matter anyways. It wasn't close at that
The
point.
point differential didn't matter. Yeah.
But that was like essentially the dagger, because from that point on we switched sides for the second half. And now we purposely chose to go into the wind first half, so that second half while they're tired, like they would be going into the wind.
Yeah.
And then we just ended up taking them out. Like I think the final score
Murder.
was like 13-8.
Blood
or
in the
something.
water.
And then we got a freaking sweet trophy. It's like literally like a wooden trophy with a plaque that said like champions of Brown Bottle Tier 2.
Does it have the name of the team, or is it just?
No, it's just like a.
That
general
makes
trophy.
sense, because I think
It's
it would have been like
custom.
like Puddle Poodle, whatever your name was.
Well, no, we had them change it on the website.
Yeah.
We got in contact, but it's like a wooden trophy with a plaque, says Colorado Pond Hockey Tournament, whatever. Then it says like Brown Bottle Tier 2 champions, and then it actually has like a brown bottle that's like super glued on
Yeah.
top. And I got some sweet pictures with it. But I was exhausted, and every muscle in my body is like destroyed. Especially like leaving, I was just like hobbling away. So through all the cold and the snow and everything, just like exhausting weekend filled with sickness and whatever, but it was all worth it to lift another trophy.
Sheesh.
Because that's like the third trophy I've ever lifted in my entire life. From
The
hockey.
real hard mode is for the last day, a beer every game.
Oh man, I actually
by game
I'm actually
5 you're in your fifth
upset
beer.
that I felt sick because the brewery had some really good like draft beers.
Yeah.
And I only had 2 the first day, and then like just
You're
chose
never
not to
getting, you're
drink
never
for the
getting
rest.
them back. Is it a yearly thing, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so it's every. I think it's today's President's Day or something.
Yes, it is President's Day.
Yeah.
That when we're recording this.
So it's President's Day weekend. They have the tournament.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, just I guess some people get Monday off of work. So
Yeah,
it's just like
it depends on what industry you work in, but people get stuff off for President's Day. Like I know schools and stuff are shut down for President's Day and
so
things
they
like that.
choose like one of those like holiday weekends to do it. And it actually ended up being really sick because of like it's All-Star weekend, but for the NHL they're doing the Four Nations tournament.
Yeah.
Which is they have usually for some reason the NHL doesn't let their players play in like international tournaments during the season or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't really know why, but instead of an All-Star weekend, because lately in like basketball and NHL and stuff, people hate the All-Star weekend. They think it's lame, and the players don't try. They don't care. They're just like not trying to get injured and get it over with. Like there's still like a huge honor to be like an All-Star of the league, but like they don't.
That's
care.
not their priority. Yeah, they're
exactly.
trying not to get injured.
But the Four Nations tournament is like you're playing for your country, right? Like,
yeah.
And it's all the best NHL players from USA, Canada, Sweden, and Finland.
Interesting
And
combo. I mean, I guess that those are the hockey places, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's more like Russia and Czechoslovakia have like really good teams and stuff like that.
Is it always those 4 for the?
No, it's the first year they're doing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is they're like testing it out.
Yeah.
But the USA Canada game on Saturday night, we watched it with all like the boys. First 10 seconds of the game, 3 fights. One at 1959, one at 1957, and one at 1950.
Oh, all that fucking hot minute of just
electric start to a hockey game, and then the rest of the game, it's just literally the best players in the world. Like the lineups are stacked. Like the fourth line has some of the NHL's best players, and it's like, bro, it's the most stacked lineup ever. Like you won't get this, but Canada kept running their power play line.
Yeah,
which was
fuck Canada.
It was Sidney Crosby, one of the best playmakers and centers of all time.
Dumb idiot.
Nathan McKinnon, the hottest player in the NHL right now, fast as hell,
Nathan's
and Connor
have things in
McDavid,
common.
who's like generational talent, one of the best players in the NHL, like just like the most stacked 3 offensemen ever.
Yeah.
It might be the highest skilled hockey game that's ever been played.
Yeah.
Because of just how stacked the lineups are. Like, it was crazy. It was a low scoring game because the goalies were unreal and the defensemen are unreal. You know, it was only 3-1, but like
that makes sense though when you're having fucking crazy people on both sides.
It's such a contrast from the All-Star game where they don't give a shit, and this where like this guy Charlie McAvoy was just fucking laying down hit after hit, just like hammering the offenseman on Canada. Like, it was such a good hockey game to watch, which I don't really like watching hockey that much, but that was, you know, that was good shit.
Who won?
America, baby.
Damn right.
3-1.
Woo 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 woo.
I did have a beer Saturday night, and I was really worried because the Dramamine, I had it that afternoon and it was working, but I was really worried I was going to wake up and be like fucked up again. But luckily I wasn't.
Is there any negatives for mixing beer with Dramamine?
I don't know, but I don't know. It was like hour 5 or 6 into the dosage, and then I didn't have another dosage till I woke up the next morning, so it was fine. But yeah, then after, because we went to the finals and like took so long, it was like almost 2:00 by the time the tournament was over, and the boys were flying out at like 6, and it takes 2 hours to drive back to Denver.
Yeah, so you have to
we were trying to like find a table in the tavern and like, or like the brewery, and sit down and eat with the, like, you know,
the quickest
boys and the trophy
beer,
you know?
and shit that you can do. Yeah,
because we went in there and there was teams like literally at their table with the trophy, like celebrating and like, you know, drinking with everybody, and we were gonna do that, but then we were like, oh shit, like,
we gotta go.
We have no time.
Yeah.
My flight was at 9:00, which I would have had to wait in the airport for like 5 hours because we got to the airport at like 4:30 basically.
Yep.
But I ended up going to the help desk and paying to switch my flight to the 6:00 flight, which was the flight that like basically everyone else was on also. Which is funny because then we're just like, oh, I had a long time no see, and then we get on the flight, and then we're all waiting at the same carousel for the checked bags, for the hockey equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that was that. I won a trophy and played some sick ass hockey in the mountains, and
God bless America, whatnot. I slept.
Yeah, you had a cozy weekend.
I watched Goku fight Frieza, and then he went Super Saiyan, and then he killed Frieza. Spoiler, he beats Frieza.
Fuck, man.
Goku doesn't die in episode 97 of Dragon Ball Z.
I assume not, because he has to go to space in Dragon Ball Z Kai, or the fuck they're doing. Super.
I don't. Yeah, I think it's Super.
Yeah, Super.
I don't know, man. There's so much Dragon Ball to watch. I've been watching Dragon Ball though, and damn, it's a long show.
Yeah,
it's my new One Piece.
It's one of those old animes where like they slowly churn through the arcs, like, and recap everything. And
I mean, like I just fucking turn through these shows like butter, though, I'll say, because like each show really only has like 15 minutes of content, so I'm just doing other shit, and then like the episode ends, skip outro, it auto plays the next episode, skip intro, skip the recap, because I get down to like the recap ends like 3.5 minutes in, and it's just right up to the next thing, and I'm like, okay. And so I'm just, if I'm making thumbnails, if I'm editing, if I'm playing a random game, I just always have that going. I think I honestly might catch up to Dragon Ball by the time that One Piece continues to release, because they're on hiatus.
You're like watching anime through osmosis. Like, you're not watching it, but you're like absorbing it.
With shows like that, you don't need to.
You don't need to.
You really don't need to.
You can space out for like 2 hours and then come back and be like, oh, this guy won the tournament. Cool.
The fun part is I'm getting just enough to the point to where like now whenever if I hear stuff about like people talking about Dragon Ball, like about old stuff, like I could be like, I actually know this shit. And you're fucking wrong.
Oh shit, you're correcting them?
Boom. Bullshit.
Savage.
People always talk about how like Krillin's fucking useless. Krillin's literally up until right now like dog number 2 or 3 on the lineup for all this shit.
He becomes very useless.
I'm sure. But or people complaining about like, man, they're setting Gohan up to be like the strongest guy. And no. From episode 1, they're setting Gohan. Yes, he's strong, but he doesn't want to be doing this shit. He kind of does, but like he likes doing math. When they compare and contrast, they have Goku's whole thing about him growing up, being a little kid. him versus oh my god, little Gohan is such a baby. Holy shit. But in the training stuff, like when he needs to cross the ocean, Goku fucking runs across the ocean. He'll get his Nimbus. Gohan's like, I'm going to do math and I'm going to build a boat. And he has an whole entire arc about like building a boat and crossing it that way. Anyways, I think it makes sense for Gohan to end up where he was. And even in the Frieza fight, like they have the Vegeta fight. Gohan gets built up to be like training and doing shit, like he actually might do stuff, but like pretty quickly they're like, nah, we're gonna go with Goku. Goku's gonna be doing all this crazy shit. Gohan is very strong, yes, but he doesn't got that mental. He doesn't got that mental like Goku does.
Because
Goku's
Goku's always like, I'm gonna be the strongest ever, and Gohan's like, I'm strong, but like I just kind of just like.
It's
chilling.
not really what I'm wanting to do.
Yeah.
Like he understands duty and responsibility. Obviously, Gohan is not gonna want to abandon his father in the fight with Frieza, and he is strong. But like, for the Frieza fight, he's like maybe a little bit more useful than Krillin, but they're kind of like on the sidelines together doing stuff.
Did you watch the Over 9,000 fight yet?
I did watch the Over 9,000.
Is that early?
I mean, in terms of episodes, if we're starting from Dragon Ball, that's like 150 episodes in, because then it's like
That's when Goku gets
it's like
older.
30 episodes, 40 episodes into Z, I think.
Oh, okay. So the only thing I know about Dragon Ball is I watched Abridged because my sister's friends when I was younger and they were in high school were like, it was like, watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged or whatever. And you'll
Did
get
the
gist.
YouTube video?
Yeah.
It's funny,
The
yeah.
YouTube series. So that's the knowledge I got for Dragon Ball. Then the other knowledge I have from Dragon Ball is, I guess, Super, because I get clips of Goku fighting the gods in space sometimes.
Yeah, that's what made me want to start getting back into it, because I just see all this random bullshit. I don't know, Super fucking popped off or whatever it is, where the cat, whenever they introduced the cat, dude, everyone was going crazy about it. And I just was cool, like, man. I can't watch any of this. I can't watch any of this because I don't know. I stopped watching Dragon Ball when I was like a little kid, but I always said I was going to start watching more.
What is the significance of Majin Buu or Buu or whatever?
I'm not there yet.
I don't know who the fuck. Like, everyone always used to talk about Buu, and who was not in Abridged, and I was like, I don't know who Buu is.
I genuinely don't remember. I just know what he does, and I remember the fight.
I know there's big fat Buu, and then there's skinny Chad
Yeah, they
Buu.
all have their transformations. He turns people into chocolate and then eats them. That's his thing.
I think I remember that from the fighting game.
Yeah.
There's a move in the fighting game
that would make sense.
Does like chocolate something.
There's a bunch of fights coming up. I mean, a lot of iconic ones. I think Majin Buu, is in between Cell. No, he's after Cell, I think. Cell, and then it's Majin Buu.
What about, isn't there like an android?
Cell is with the androids.
Oh, I don't fucking know.
Because Cell's he's like the green fucking
He's like the
guy.
green guy with the split V head?
Yeah, split V head. And then the androids come in to fight Cell. I think Cell is from like the future, I'm pretty sure.
Whack. I don't know.
Whack. Also, it's still crazy that Bulma ends up with Vegeta. It's crazy.
Dude, Bulma's a bad bitch, bro.
It's actually so jarring.
She makes Vegeta her
Now
bitch.
that I'm watching it, like, they literally, in the next episode, they just get done with the Frieza fight, all right? Vegeta's there. They think Goku's dead. Vegeta, in front of all the people who are saved, goes, fuck yes. Goku and Frieza are dead. I'm the strongest person in the universe. Fuck you guys. And they all go, what the fuck,
What's
dude?
your problem?
He brought you back from the dead and he saved your life. And then Bulma's like, you're an awful person. Next episode, literally, because again, they continue it.
She's
so it's
like,
like
I
the
can
same
fix
thing.
him. She
He's
goes,
like, he's
I can
literally
fix
like, he's kind of cute though.
I can fix him.
No, I'm not joking. She literally, like, in one episode goes from, holy shit, you're an awful person.
She's got terrible taste in
to
men.
the next thing being like, wait, you should stay at my place though.
Terrible taste in men, I can fix them type
And
girl.
also, like, right up until then, the entire Frieza fight, the arc has been like, I can't wait to get my mans back because whatever his name is, I don't even fucking know his name. Tien. No, I think Tien's the three eye.
You thinking of Trunks?
No, Trunks is her baby.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know
Her
that.
baby with Vegeta. They make a baby and make Trunks.
I just know Trunks is a little bitch.
Yeah, Trunks is a little bitch too. But she has her mans. That's been her mans since episode like 5 of Dragon Ball,
Not anymore.
who is currently dead and is waiting to be brought back to life. And then randomly
How do they
she's
bring them back to life? The Dragon Balls? The wishes?
yeah, they're doing bullshit. They're doing fucking they're doing bullshit. Okay, so here's what's happening. They set up very early on. Dragon Balls can only bring people back once.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, cool. They go to Namek. Another pair of Dragon Balls are in Namek. Okay? Those are the
Yeah, I
only
remember
two
that.
pairs of Dragon Balls. There's no other pairs of Dragon Balls in the universe.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. And then they're like, okay, well, we can also bring people back to life with those Dragon Balls, and only once. It's kind. They never say it, but they're like, okay, you can bring people back. And then at the very, very, very end, they're like, oh, well, as long as it's from like not a natural cause, you can bring them back as many times as you want. It's just like, what?
So if they get killed by
So
someone
so
else, then they can
up
be rezzed?
until now, the Dragon Balls have not been OP. It was actually like stakes when Krillin was in the fight because Krillin already died.
Yeah.
And then every other character was set up to where like they fucked up with the balls, which means that they could bring everybody back except for Chatsu, the little guy who blows himself up, the little white guy. Well, little white guy blows himself up, and he is perma dead in the series. And everyone's like, holy fuck! Now that the Namek balls were taken away because at a certain point the Namek balls were destroyed. They're like, we can't bring back fucking Chaozu. He's dead forever.
Rip.
They get the balls back, so like, okay, cool, we can bring back Chaozu. And then I think just for precaution, they're like, oh yeah, and we can bring back everyone again forever as long as they don't die from natural causes. Because I think they realize that like, oh fuck, we're gonna start losing characters, like because now they can't include.
And if they're fan favorites, then but it just ruins the stakes then.
But I like
to
the
take a note out of a Game of Thrones book and just kill off their characters because it just makes it more epic.
It would be hype if they did. I mean, they have the afterlife, but honestly, like they can exist in the afterlife. Fucking the original Dragon Ball, fucking Goku was visiting the afterlife like every other now and again. He'd see his dad like 4 different times. He's like, "Dad," and he's like, "Oh, you're here."
It seems like they just drew out rules and then we're like, wait, we want to do different stuff.
Yeah.
So fuck the rules. We're just gonna bend them every now and then when we need to.
It's okay. I mean, like, fuck it, I guess. But yeah, I wish people stayed dead. I wish Dragon Balls didn't revive infinitely.
It's the Game
Namek,
of
what the
Thrones
fuck?
thing, man. When you kill characters, it's fucking hype because then it just makes the show more entertaining because you're like, anyone could die at any point. That's what Game of Thrones always was. Like, oh, this new character, I love them. 3 episodes later, they're fucking dead, and it's like, what the fuck?
Also, there's some crazy power discrepancy between the 2 Dragon Ball holders that isn't exactly clear because on one hand, like the balls on Namek apparently can like wish for immortality still.
Yeah.
But they can only bring back one person at a time. Like they can't bring back groups of people because it's limited on like the person who made the ball's powers.
Like the dragon?
The dragon is just an avatar for the person who made the dragon.
Okay.
So like when the old Namek guy died, the Dragon Balls died. And so they brought him back to life with at-home Dragon Balls. And they brought him back to life. And that brought back those. But the fucking... I don't remember his name. But Piccolo's other half, the guy who's the nice protector, he can bring back entire planets full of people. And to be fair, they do say that if Piccolo and his other half, I forget his name already, joined back together, he would be stronger than Frieza, but they just don't
Why
do that.
don't they do that?
They just don't do that. They're kind of two separate people.
Yeah, they're like, I don't want you in my head.
Yeah. Although Piccolo does absorb a random fucking Namek guy. So he's like now like 3/4 Piccolo, and then this other random, just the strongest Namek.
Why? What?
Because the Namek guy was about to die, and Piccolo needed extra energy, and he was like,
he's like soul sap.
yeah, he's like, sap me into your body, and he's like, no, you're gay. Like he literally was like, I don't want your shit. And he was like, no, I swear, like I'm not gonna do any weird stuff. And he's like, fine.
Piccolo's gonna do that 3 more times and then just be like the voices, and he's gonna have like
I'm not
3
joking.
consciousnesses.
It's
in his
actually
head.
kind of weird because I don't know if he separates in the future or if they just kind of like stop using his voice. Because right now he'll randomly be like, he'll talk to one of the Namekians and be like, how did you know that? And he'll say it in like the other guy's voice, like, oh, it's me. Like I'm part of Piccolo. And it's just like, what?
Dude, Dragon Ball is like on the base level, it's just like, oh, they fucking have like super chi powers and they fight each other and fly around and shit.
Yeah.
But then like hearing this shit, it's like, oh, they can soul sap and they're resurrecting each other and they're fucking, power levels in their goggles or whatever. It's just like so weird.
It's an interesting show. I mean, fuck it. I think it's my same idea. That's why I continued watching it at this point. It's my same feelings about like One Piece, where there's just like, hey, it's an all right show. It's pretty consistent. Is it like cinema? Not really. There are moments where it's cinema.
I'm not gonna say it's slop, but it's like fodder.
No, that's how it is. Because like, if they forced the writers to like compact, for example, like the Frieza fight to like 12 episodes, which is what most TV shows do. Like they have like one season, which is like a big thing. It would be like cinema all the way through.
Yeah.
But instead they're like, why don't we just make this 100 episodes?
Well,
and it's like, okay, I guess it's 100 episodes.
They didn't do that purposefully. They did it because they were releasing it weekly.
As it goes.
And like if you're watching it once a week, like the recap's helpful, and then the cliffhanger is helpful.
Well, a lot of the time it's also like written with like the manga. They don't want to catch up to the manga.
Yeah, exactly. They want to catch up too fast.
With shows like One Piece and
it keeps the IP alive.
Dragon Ball,
forever.
they've continue to release this shit like weekly, but you can only like draw so much for your manga weekly. So it's like, okay, like I've now got to the point where when I did first catch up to One Piece, I read some of the manga and it was while they were still releasing it, so I'd see when it gets adapted, and I'm like, I can see now why it's a little bit stretched.
Yeah.
Because they only have so much material to go off of, and it's like, great, you have to wait till the next release to come out.
Yeah. They have to draw every panel one by one, and then in an animation, all those panels are kind of like slapped into one scene. Basically.
Yeah.
So it's just like a lot of extra drawing when it comes to mangas. But yeah, I think both those shows are definitely like the stories are good. The shows themselves, the substance is really good. Mm-hmm. Which is why I don't think it's that. Which is why I refrain from calling it slop. But it is like a very repetitive.
I think
draining
fodder's
show.
fine.
So fodder's a really good one for someone like Nathan who just like watches it in the background while he does other stuff. So then he still experiences the story and can hear it.
And then when hype shit happens, I can fucking watch it.
Yeah, then you can turn over and see
I think that's probably why stuff like the Netflix live action for like One Piece is really good. I don't know, the other live actions haven't been that good, but for like shows like One Piece, it makes sense because like at the end of those, like I don't even know how many. I don't even think it was 12. Maybe it's 12. But like 12 really like high produced like 45-minute long episodes, you're already like 100 episodes into One Piece at this point, like, and you've gotten all the good parts that people like, and it definitely that's another thing. Tonally, they can tone stuff down a bit because Japanese anime, especially early on, is a little
out there.
As even Dragon Ball. Oh my God, watch the first like 10 episodes of Dragon Ball. Goku has a running gag where he can't tell the difference between genders. So he'll go to almost every character that he meets, and the first thing he does is grab them by their crotch and is like, oh, you're a boy.
Weird.
Oh, you're a girl. And it's just like his first introduction with Bulma, like after like one day of knowing her, he literally while she's sleeping like takes off her clothes and starts screaming. He's like, Bulma's like, what the fuck happened? And she's like, your balls are missing, Bulma. And she's like, my dragon balls? Oh no. And he's like, no, your balls. And it's just like, what the fuck is this? This is some crazy shit.
With a TV show adaptation, they can cut out all the weird shit.
Cut out
and
that
just
weird
keep all
shit.
the important and iconic details.
Yeah.
And combine it into one super entertaining show that has, I mean, if it's highly produced, hopefully that the acting's good and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do live action Dragon Ball. That'd be crazy. But
something like One Piece, it's like
One Piece makes sense.
I feel like the acting in a live action format was still corny and cheesy like most live action things are, but it was way more passable than other live action adaptations in the past.
Yeah.
So it actually made it like a pretty good
I think it
watch.
helps that like One Piece has its moments of being serious, but for the most part, it's pretty goofy.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't really matter because like the other live action stuff that they've done, like
super
Death
serious.
Note and stuff, is like really serious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't seen the live action Death Note, to be fair, so I just know everyone doesn't like it. And you know what? Probably for the best.
I mean, there's a bunch. Isn't there like
There's a live action
Cowboy Bebop? Yeah.
I
It's
haven't
not very
seen it.
good. I don't remember.
I
I never watched it.
I think people said it was okay.
I want to watch the
Better.
movie. There's a Cowboy Bebop movie.
You
but I
probably have
haven't seen
to.
it. I've seen scenes of it on TikTok, and I'm like, that's hype because I really like the show.
Is it like
But I don't know where to find it. I have to figure that out.
Is it like Lupin? Lupin the Third, where you can just like watch the movie without?
Yeah, it's completely
context,
separate. I mean,
yeah.
the show itself isn't really like there's plot lines and stuff that's like progress as the story goes on, but like pretty much like every episode's like has a different theme and stuff like that. It's like one of those shows. It's like it's literally one season, 23 episodes or something, and it's just like it's one of the more artsy anime, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it's really
Lupin the
fucking
Third's
good and
hype.
badass.
If you like random, if you want another random anime to watch Lupin the Third. Any of the fucking things. They have like 6 different movies, a bunch of different series. They're all pretty unique for the most part, standalone. Can't really go wrong if you're just looking for another anime.
Apparently, the buddies I've been on the hockey trip with, they like solo leveling.
Oh,
I don't know.
I haven't. I know that's a really big one. I don't know. I haven't seen.
It's not finished. It's like halfway through season 2 right now. So like they were like, I watched and now I cliffhangered and now I have to wait. But I don't know. Apparently it's good.
I know people really like it. I know it's highly rated. I don't know how I feel about solo leveling. I don't think it's. Is it? I think it's an isekai one.
I don't know.
Reborn in another world.
I only watch like one TV show and one anime a year, so I'm a little behind on when it comes to anime watching.
I fucking chug through media so quickly.
Well, I chug through YouTube videos and video games.
I think I very quickly traded YouTube for movies. Like I barely watch YouTube for the most part.
I watch a
it's
decent
just
amount of movies a year.
I like movies more than anything else because that's like a good. I can sit down while I'm doing a thing. I'm probably gonna do a thing for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I can have the movie on, and I just do that. And then when it's done, I'm also done with the movie, and I don't need to worry about like I started this long series. I like having one long series that I can put on as a substitute. It's like Dragon Ball is like the filler. Whenever there's an odd time space where it doesn't make sense to put on a movie, I put on Dragon Ball now. I used to put on One Piece, but it stopped.
I think I definitely like shows and series more than I do like watching movies, but it's such a commitment, and I'm a binger. Like when I watched Breaking Bad, I watched it all in like 2 weeks time.
I mean, to be fair,
Saul,
most of the movies I watch are like animated or something like that. But because there's some movies is where you're gonna get like the highest of high quality animation and like some really cool, compact,
higher
like
budgets and whatnot.
Higher budgets, like storytelling.
Well, it's one complete piece of work instead of like breaking up in week by week or whatever.
Issue is they're not made as frequently, so I'm like out of anime movies. Like I'm not to the point to where like I'm scavenging for like good shit, and it's just like God, it's so hard to find anything.
Have you watched Ryujin Z?
What? Maybe.
I think it's free on YouTube. Not bad. Pretty good movie. That's one I'll give you.
How do you spell it?
Roujin and then Z. I think.
Oh, Ryujin Z. I see.
Is it free? Is just the whole movie's free on YouTube?
I'm just gonna pirate. I mean, I'm not gonna pirate.
He's gonna watch it free on YouTube because it's free on YouTube.
I'm just gonna watch it for free. Wink on YouTube. Wink.
So that's my anime recommendation of the day.
It's an anime science fiction action thriller film.
Thank you for watching the hockey and anime podcast.
Yep. Watch Akira.
Ooh, Akira's good too.
Akira's banging for animation. If you want to see some crazy, like animation on ones for no reason.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's
literally
crazy.
They'll be walking down the fucking hallway and the characters just be casually spinning in circles. Like stuff where if you're trying to be mindful of animating, why the fuck are you making the character do a twirl?
You can seriously like appreciate the work that went into something like Akira. If you know anything about animation and the work that goes in, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
I don't know why I did the scream.
Yeah, you're a little squeaky boy, like a dog toy.